Testing. Okay, I think we are good to go. Looks like we're live. So we're gonna finish setting up here. Thank you all for bearing with me. And we are gonna get started. Okay, welcome friends. These are your Bitcoin updates for today, which is March 12th, Friday. Happy Friday and happy almost the weekend. So first we are over here at Buy Bitcoin Worldwide, and we do see that there are 2,347,000 Bitcoin left to be mined. 900 new Bitcoin are being mined every day. Not too much change here from yesterday. Bitcoin's current price is $57,000. We are down 2% on the day, but still up 15% on the week. It looks like most of the blue chip cryptos are red, a very red day today, but on the past week, the top 5 at least are positive, or top 4. Tether's not really a cryptocurrency, it's more of a stable coin, a tokenized stable coin. Over on market dominance, we do have 62.7% market dominance for Bitcoin. This is the total percent of all the money in cryptocurrencies that is stored in Bitcoin. We keep an eye on this number because anytime it starts to rise, money is flowing back into Bitcoin from other cryptocurrencies and potentially out of the crypto ecosystem. So that is what it looks like right now, as Bitcoin's price drop is nowhere near as much as Ethereum or Binance. So it looks like we are in that stage of the money flow. Over on treasuries, we do see $77.3 billion worth of Bitcoin is stored in the treasuries of publicly traded companies. They currently hold about 6.5% of the total Bitcoin supply. And as we discussed yesterday, this does not include private companies, so the total amount of Bitcoin held by corporations could be significantly more than this. Over on cycle repeat, we do have an after having top of $700,000 predicted for Bitcoin, and the date is around end of October, October 24th to be precise. I believe, yeah, around October 24th. As of right now, 23rd, 24th. This is a little bit later and a little bit higher than my predictions. Way back when Bitcoin was around 9K, I was predicting anywhere between $100,000 and $400,000 for a top during this bull run, and I do still stand by that. So they are a little bit above that, so we'll see what happens. This would be great, but also I would not get your hopes up and kind of count on it getting that high, because that's quite a bit. I think that's like 6-7x from where we are right now, which is not insignificant. Over on the stock to flow model, the fair value of Bitcoin today is around, what is today, the 12th? The fair value for the 12th is around $51,400, and the actual value of Bitcoin yesterday was 57. Today, head on back over to CoinGecko, is also still 57. So we're a little bit overvalued right now. This might fall back. We can actually take a look over here at the unrealized profit loss, and we want to keep an eye on this chart just because when the value is up to 75%, we have historically seen an end to the bull market. So that is a definite warning flag if we start seeing an unrealized profit loss in that area. So right now we're at 72%, which is good. We're looking bullish. As you can see, we got really close back in the beginning of January, and then we actually hit 75% in the middle end of February before falling back down. So a lot of people were saying this was a much needed overdue pullback or correction. So keep in mind we are getting close to that level again, so we may need to have another pullback for continued healthy growth of Bitcoin. Over on the Pi cycle top indicator, just a reminder, when the orange line crosses the green, this has within a 3-day accuracy for all previous bull runs predicted the top of a bull market cycle, and we are not yet at that point, so we are still looking bullish, which is a good sign. And then lastly, we have our cryptocurrency news. Peter Schiff, for those of you who don't know, is a pretty popular in the finance space, and is kind of a running joke in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency community, just because his son Spencer Schiff is such a strong Bitcoin advocate, and Peter Schiff is so vehemently against Bitcoin that it's kind of funny that a kid could be so see the opposite perspective so much so more so than his father. So they have again this joke. In this today, it's old man yells at Bitcoin, and that's Peter Schiff, and his son is going all in on Bitcoin. So his son actually sold, I think it was silver. Yeah, my son's Spencer Schiff went all in on Bitcoin on the last drop below 50K. 100% of his portfolio is now in Bitcoin. He sold the last of his silver stocks to raise cash. If my own son is this brainwashed, imagine how vulnerable most kids are. He's hodling to infinity or bust. So this is kind of funny, just because the running joke is Peter Schiff's been wrong like all the time, and his son has been pro Bitcoin for as long as he's been aware of it, and Peter Schiff has been against Bitcoin for as long as he's been aware of it. So it's kind of funny to see this kind of animosity between people so publicly, I guess. And there were two events that kind of kicked this off most recently. First, Peter Schiff actually is really popular on Twitter, and he put out a tweet saying, "Who are you going to believe when you're told to invest in something? A licensed professional who's been in the industry for decades and has a great track record, or some random kid living in a basement who's just buying Bitcoin and hodling?" And Twitter, Twitter, or Finance Twitter, voted the kid like 70 something percent. So that was a pretty funny event. And then also, when you look at it, Peter Schiff's actively managed funds have not performed all that well. They've pretty much been flat, which when you think about it is actually a really negative thing, because all you had to do to perform that well is just hold your money in dollars and there would be no risk relative. Or if you had just put it in an index fund, you would have outperformed. Whereas his son, if he bought Bitcoin, assuming he's held, and he bought at any point in history other than a couple weeks ago, if he bought at any point in history other than 1, 2, 3, 4 days, you would be positive ROI on Bitcoin if you just bought and held. So that's pretty much it for the news today. We're gonna go over to Q&As now. See a lot of people hopping in. No. Okay, so first question, interesting old technology to new silver versus Bitcoin. Yeah, a lot of people use Bitcoin as what is called an uncorrelated asset, investment asset, because people have observed that Bitcoin is negatively correlated or uncorrelated with most traditional investments. And when you have an investment portfolio, you want to be as diversified as possible. So that way, if something terrible happens to one of your investments, then the other ones can kind of carry you through it. A good example of this is when the coronavirus pandemic first hit, the price of oil dropped to negative, so much so that they were paying people to take barrels of oil off their hands. And that really killed the oil industry stock-wise. And so if all of your money was in oil, that would have been really bad for you. But if your money was in oil and real estate and technology and then some in bonds or dollars, you would have done all right, because while oil tanked and technology tanked, technology has rebounded pretty well. Real estate has basically just gone up since that happened, and bonds you would have had, or cash you would have had on hand to buy the dip when the coronavirus pandemic kind of correction first hit. So that's kind of why you want a diversified portfolio, just a general overview. And the thing with Bitcoin is that most people are realizing it is uncorrelated to almost anything else. So Bitcoin actually goes through these bull and bear market cycles, which you can kind of see modeled on the stock to flow model. And that basically just means that Bitcoin just does its own thing. It follows its own cycle. And so when people are heavily invested in a bunch of other things, this is a very attractive investment opportunity because it's so uncorrelated. So if it's time for Bitcoin to enter a bull market and we experience some massive issue like a housing bust or like the 2008 disaster, if it's time for Bitcoin to be a bull, Bitcoin's going to go up. And so that's one of the big reasons people are investing in Bitcoin as an uncorrelated asset. Um, and so that is that one. And so Peter Schiff's son has invested more in that, whereas one of the older ones was silver, where silver is a very good store of value, and it's traditionally what people have used to kind of hedge against inflation. So on top of that, with the $1.9 trillion stimulus that the government has put out into the economy, just signed yesterday, actually, inflation is a very real fear for a lot of people. And so Bitcoin, being an uncorrelated asset, being an inflation hedge, is something that a lot of people are looking to invest to kind of protect their wealth from that. Um, what is your thoughts on taking profits? So I think generally in crypto, the contemporary knowledge or recommendations are that because gains are often so phenomenal, you typically want to take profits or take out your initial investment when your investment has done anywhere between 2 and 6x. So when you hit 100 to 500% gains, I believe that's right. 2x. Yeah. 100 to 500% gains. You want to pull out your initial investment and then let the rest ride. So that's the strategy that is often recommended. With stocks, I believe it's 30% or so, 20 to 30%. Once your stock has gone up 20 to 30%, you want to start taking some profit just so if something disastrous happens, you don't lose everything. That being said, I'm a much more of a fan of long-term investing, and so generally I wouldn't buy something just so it would go up 20 or 30%. I would be more interested in buying and then being able to leave it for several years before coming back and finding that it's gone up a significant amount. Kind of like Bitcoin, if you bought and you left it for, I think, any 5-year period, you've been ROI positive. Um, that's more my strategy. So those are my thoughts on taking profits. Hope that answers your question. I'm not seeing any more questions right now. Okay, one more question. Would you pull out profits on small altcoins, put in Ethereum and Bitcoin? Yeah, so that's a strategy that a lot of people in the crypto space use. That just to reiterate, the question is, would you pull out profits on small altcoins to put in Ethereum and Bitcoin? So generally, that's one of the most popular recommendations for taking profits in crypto, is that because Bitcoin and Ethereum are these two behemoths, they are the number 1 and 2 cryptocurrencies, as you can see here, number 1 and 2, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Just the top cryptos in the market, that they are viewed as much more stable. So while something can happen with an altcoin where potentially it gets hacked, or some really bearish news comes out and it goes to zero for whatever reason, that is one way to kind of protect your money and keep it in crypto. For a bull market like this, one strategy that someone I follow, who I've worked with on projects before, I really like his idea, is taking your money out when you're ready to take profits. He strategizes, once you've moved to Bitcoin and Ethereum from your altcoins, and you're starting to take out of Bitcoin and Ethereum, to put it into a fixed interest return, something kind of like 88MPH, which is a project, decentralized finance project that is intended to give fixed rates of return. So whereas certain things will potentially have lower returns once the bear market hits, um, things like bonds or 88 mph, which is a DeFi bond basically, um, could potentially protect those and allow you to continue getting interest, and you will be able to, say, convert your money to a stable coin, um, to do that. So that way, even if things start falling, you've saved some of those funds. Um, so it looks like that is all the questions we have. I just want to take one more quick look. Yeah, so I'm going to end the stream. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. Just a quick word of caution. There are a lot of scammers out there, so do keep in mind when someone tries to contact you in the comments and tells you to contact them on WhatsApp and send them cryptocurrency. Don't do that, because you can't get back cryptocurrency once you've sent it. So please do be very careful about that. Um, if you got value from this video, please do remember to smash the like button. And if you want to continue receiving updates, hit the subscribe and then bell button for notifications and select all so you're notified whenever I post. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be signing off YouTube now, and I will